are Locked On Diamondbacks, your daily Arizona Diamondbacks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Locked On Diamondbacks and Locked On MLB listeners, look who's here. It's Millard Thomas. I'm your pal Sully. We're doing a quick impromptu Locked On MLB, Locked On Diamondbacks crossover, at least for this segment. The game just ended like 5 minutes ago. And I think it's incredible that in 9 innings, the Dodgers somehow stranded 50 runners. I don't know how that's possible. I may have to check it. That may be wrong. But boy, it seemed like it. And the Diamondbacks jumped out to a 3-0 lead after the massacre the other day. And the Dodgers were given chance after chance after chance. And yet here we are. It's 2-0 Diamondbacks going back to Arizona, and nothing is going the Dodgers' way. Millard Thomas, what the heck is going on here?
Sully, I don't even know how to articulate how I'm feeling, what I'm seeing on the field. I haven't seen the D-backs lose a postseason game yet. We're 4 games in. This is the D-backs' second series. They swept the Milwaukee Brewers. They were the comeback kids in that series because they let the Brewers get up early every game in that series. Then they came back, swept that team. Now they face this LA Dodgers team, and so far through 2 games, they're the team going up early. They're the team attacking first against LA. And I said entering this series, that this Dodgers team was a little bit more vulnerable than years past. I wasn't picking the D-backs or anything to win this series. I still thought Dodgers in 4, but I thought there was a better chance for the D-backs to make this a series and potentially take it better than what we've seen in the past, because this Dodgers rotation, as we've seen, it's just not as good as it's been, from the past few playoffs. Clayton Kershaw, he's a little bit older. We know his playoff struggles. And then after that, because you don't got the Gonsolins, the Julio Uriases, the Walker Buehlers, it's like you had to throw out Bobby Miller for game 2. Might be Lance Lynn or like a Ryan Pepio cocktail in game 3. Like, the D-backs advantage in this series is their starting rotation. And then you throw in the fact that their offense is also the best in the postseason right now, lead the playoffs in home runs. Like, this was a team that didn't hit power in the regular season. Now, all of a sudden, they've turned into like a home run derby team. It's been insane. I really don't know how to explain the D-backs heading back to Arizona up 2-0 on the Dodgers, and you're going to have Merrill Kelly at the very least in game 4.
Yeah, I didn't give the Diamondbacks a chance at this one. Especially, I thought game 1, everything was lined up the Dodger way on that one. And as I mentioned yesterday's podcast, they got 1 out from Clayton Kershaw. That's not good. That is not good. It may
be the worst start of his career, right? Like, when you look at his playoffs and even the regular season, like,
I'm trying to think of a pitcher of that caliber who's had a worse start in a postseason game. I mean, Pedro had a couple of bad starts, especially his final start when he pitched for Philadelphia. Greg Maddux had a couple of bad starts, I remember, with Atlanta. Randy Johnson had a couple of bad starts in his career. But I'm talking about someone who's a Hall of Famer who wet the bed that badly. Clemens had a couple of bad starts. Schilling had 1 or 2 bad starts, but that was when but none of them like leaving in the first.
Yeah, and you combine it with the fact that Merrill Kelly on the other side, 0 for 11 in his career, has never won a game against the Dodgers before game 1, but you wouldn't have known that with the way he pitched because he was completely locked in and shut down that Dodgers lineup. And it's been great for this D-backs offense to really get to this Dodgers bullpen early. Now, that's not as big of a fact with – I didn't know how many rest days are going to be built into this series. Honestly, it's like it's
a lot of ridiculous.
Days.
It's insane.
So it's like getting to the Dodger starters early is not as important as it might have been in the regular season because they're getting so much rest days. But you still like to see that, so far through 2 games, the Dodger starters have combined for 2 total innings pitched. I think that's been the biggest difference in the series. We knew the Dodgers bullpen was going to be elite. We've seen that. But also the other part is this D-backs pitching staff, their bullpen has heated up. They've matched the Brewers bullpen. They've matched the Dodgers bullpen. This team was middle of the pack, the 18th best bullpen in terms of ERA in the regular season. And that's only because that final month of the season, this team had a sub-3 ERA from the bullpen in that final month, and it's carried into the postseason. Ryan Thompson got picked up off waivers from the Tampa Bay Rays in August. He has yet to allow an earned run. Sal Frank, we saw tonight, was able to help the D-backs get out of a jam. Those two guys have been big revelations. Combined with the Kevin Ginkel and the Paul Sewald, the D-backs have at least 4 dudes that they feel really good about in the back end of the bullpen right now.
Well, and just think back to when the Brewers took that lead in game 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking to myself, oh boy, Millard, happy to be here. Well, hey, who would have thought they would have gotten in? I mean, hey, come on, they gave you a summer.
The scrappy D-backs, right? That's what they were. If you had
told me at that moment they would be 1 win, they have to go 1-2, including 2 games at home. I think the Dodgers should start Pepio, but that's another conversation. I would have thought you'd be insane at that point. By the way, Carroll is everything you would want him to be. His postseason average is 500.
Yeah, okay? He's been absolutely insane. I mean, he's been locked in at the plate. I mean, all he does is just get on base every single game.
Yeah, he got on base 4 times tonight.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like a good, like it was a quiet Corbin Carroll game. Like I felt like he didn't even have to do much tonight. Like you said, still 4 times on base. All he does is get hits. All he does is steal bases. Like he's incredible.
Do you know what his postseason OPS is right now?
Tell me, Sully.
1.632.
And listen, he's going against MVPs on the other side. Yeah.
And by the way, the player of the game for the D-backs tonight is probably Gurriel, with not just the home run that he hit, but that weird play in the 9th inning where he made that fly ball in the 9th inning a little bit more of an adventure than it probably should have been. Yeah. But in the end, it just isn't out. But he drove in a pair of runs tonight. And that was just, and Marte has had a wonderful postseason so far. Pham has had a terrific postseason so far. Moreno, the catcher, has his OPS is over 900 in the postseason so far. They've been just getting contributions up and down the lineup, and you're going to have Zach Gallen. Worst case scenario, he's going to pitch another game.
Yeah,
and no, I mean, look at the D-backs are in great shape.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm willing to say that. But I've seen teams fall 2-0 in worse shape and come back. And game 3, if I were the Dodgers, I'm starting Pepio because he's pitched the best down the stretch. He's pitched well. Lance Lynn has been there, done that. He's had a couple of good games for the Dodgers, but also some lousy games too. I would hand the ball to Pepio in game 3. If there's a game 4, you hand it to Lance Lynn. Or you could hand it to Clayton Kershaw because he wasn't overworked in game 1.
No. And also, I think they're going to be on normal rest by the time game 4 rolls around. So I think we are going to see Kershaw versus Kelly and then Gallen versus whoever in that game 5, if necessary, of course. Because
that means game 3 is just critical. I mean,
I think game 3 is just going to come down to the offense, honestly. I think game 3 is just going to be potentially your classic slugfest. I mean, you're going to have Brandon Pfaadt on the mound. We know he loves to it could be a home run battle between Pfaadt and Lance Lynn, who gives up more. But I think Ryan Pepio will probably be in as early as the 2nd inning. I think Lance Lynn is going to have one of the quickest hooks in postseason history. Like, I don't think Dave Roberts. I think it'll be like
no, they're not going to have a quicker hook than they had on Kershaw in game 1.
Yeah, or Kershaw in game 1. Miller game 2, like Dave Roberts is not playing around. And with the bullpen that he has, like you can see why, like Brazier, Gratterall, even Joe Kelly was solid. Like that bullpen was pretty nasty and really carried the Dodgers tonight. And you see how much they've had to do through the first 2 games.
Yeah. By the way, the Dodgers bullpen did their job tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, the D-backs scored 3 in the first, and then they let up the solo shot to Gurriel in the 6th or 7th inning. Mm-hmm. And that was it for the run scoring. The Dodgers, actually, let me go to MLB.com. I made the joke. I mean, they left 7 runners on base.
Yeah.
Okay. It's actually not as many as I thought because I guess it's because they grounded into 2 key double plays. The Freeman double play and the Taylor double play were just absolute,
they momentum killers in this game.
Yeah. I mean, Colton Wong twice left runners in scoring position with 2 outs.
He had what, bases loaded with 1 out, 2, or
yeah.
and then
I mean,
Southland
all
just
those
was
times
like,
they were 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position.
yeah,
That's
you had
that's
your
not gonna cut it.
opportunity. And you had players like Freddie Freeman, at the plate to potentially come through. And then just the top of the lineup right now for the Dodgers, like they haven't woken up yet. Like has Betts, I mean, I'm checking the stats right now. He hasn't gotten a hit yet this postseason. And we know Betts is like an all-time postseason performer. We know what he's done with the Dodgers and the Red Sox, but he's yet to wake up in the series, and we'll see if he could do that back in Arizona, hopefully.
And that is one thing that if you are a Diamondback fan, don't get too cocky because it could turn into a slugfest. Betts has his average right now is 0.000. His OPS is 125. Freeman's average is 167. His OPS is under 6. So if those 2 players wake the heck up and spark the offense and turn into a slugfest, then you could be seeing you've got to, if you're a Diamondbacks fan, you've got to be eyeing to sweep the series because you don't want this to go deeper.
No, I don't want this. I could see the D-backs win this in game 4 because of that slugfest potential, but I will be scared that if it does turn into a slugfest in game 3, maybe that wakes up the bats of the Dodgers for the rest of the series. If Mookie Betts all of a sudden sees a couple of those Brandon Pfaadt fastballs sit in the middle of the zone, does that wake him up for the rest of the series? Does that wake up a Freddie Freeman for the rest of the series? Because those guys love playing in Chase Field. A guy like Will Smith absolutely has crushed the D-backs throughout his career. So I'm going to be really keyed in on those guys. But the D-backs are going to also have a quick hook with a Brandon Pfaadt, like we saw in game 1. Like they are going to make that a bullpen game. If Brandon Pfaadt struggles through 1 inning, like they're going to keep him out there as long as he's pitching well. But the first sign of trouble, the first time he walks a batter, the 3rd inning or whatever, Torey Lovullo is going to come out and they're going to put in either a Mantiply or whoever, Colin Nelson. So I will also be on the lookout to see which starting pitcher lasts longer in this game because both of them, I think, are going to have super quick hooks in game 3.